It took me two things for me to get over my weed addiction. The first was consistently calling myself an addict, consistently downloading this message in my brain that I need weed. I need this thing. I'm telling myself I'm an addict. If you tell yourself you're an addict, you're going to be an addict. You're going to act like one. I had to destroy that. The second one was my willpower. Willpower is a skill. In my opinion, there's a broader range that encompasses willpower, but there's discipline, which is doing the hard work, the things that you don't want to do, being able to resist these bad habits or desires that you want, but you know that you shouldn't have. It's saying no to the things that you want, but it's also saying yes to the things that you don't want to do. In my opinion, this is discipline, this is willpower, but it's all willpower at the end of the day. It's the ability to overcome yourself and your mind, your ego, and to enforce that and put it into your actions and display that into the world. This morning when I woke up, I could not be bothered to do my morning routine. My morning routine, wake up, do at least a line of gratitude journaling, and I do a page of journaling, which is just like a streamline of consciousness, basically. It's kind of just brain dump where I just write what's coming in my mind, and I'm just writing for that, a page. It usually takes about 10 minutes. Then I get up, hit some push-ups, get some energy going, get those endorphins rushing so I can feel better, feel more lively. And after that, I meditate. I've really been struggling for the past few days to want to do my morning routine. This morning, I woke up and I grabbed my phone. I go on YouTube. I see Huberman Lab with David Goggins, and I'm like, what? I'm on that. Dude, David Goggins, he inspires me. Even though he says inspiration, motivation is bullshit, and I do agree to an extent, the dude inspires me. His story, it's amazing. The things he's overcome in his life, it's amazing. The person, the man he's made himself, built, not born, it's awesome. There's one concept from that video, that podcast, that I want to share with you. If you'd like to watch it, I'll link it here. It's the topic of growing your willpower. Huberman discussed the neuroscience part of this. The part of your brain that's responsible for willpower, but also your will to live, your will to keep going. People with higher willpower live longer. They fight. They have the drive. They have the want. They have the will to impose on the world and say, I'm not done yet. That part of your brain is called the anterior mid-cingulate cortex. Now, the name is completely irrelevant, so you don't actually need to know that. But I'm a nerd, so I like to know nerd shit. Your anterior mid-cingulate cortex, or the willpower part of the brain, that's how I'll probably refer to it for the rest of the video. Or I'll maybe say AMCC. I like AMCC. We'll stick with that. Your AMCC is extremely plastic. It's extremely moldable. But as much as it can be increased or grown or improved on, just as much as it can shrink, it can decrease. It can get smaller. You grow your AMCC by doing the hard shit that you don't want to do. This is why Huberman brought this up to David Goggins. David Goggins' entire life, since he was 24 and decided that he wanted to stop being a fat piece of shit, his words, not mine. Ever since then, for the last 25 years, he's been consistently, every single day he's been suffering. Every single day he's been going through the hurt locker. He's been putting himself through hell. Why? Because he understood that that's what it would take for him to stop being the person that he was at the moment and to become the man that he wanted to be. The man that he wasn't, but the person he wanted to get to. When you do shit that you don't like to do, when you get up and you go for that run, you lace him up, you go run, like David Goggins does every single day, even though he fucking hates running, you might think that because he runs these marathons, 100, 200, 300-mile runs, well, this guy must love that shit. No, he fucking hates running. But it's his vehicle for overcoming the mind, for extracting more, for being great. Running is just one part of this. Although Goggins does enjoy physical training, that is the bulk of what he does. The physical training is the bulk of how he overcomes his mind, how he expands his AMCC. But he also has a hard time learning, a hard time retaining information. He grew up with ADD, ADHD. Like, he has learning disabilities. It was very hard for him to read or to write for the first 18 years of his life. He had to put in, and he still has to put in way more effort to just learn a page from a textbook. Some people, they can go over a page 1, 2 times, maybe 3 times. They got it. Goggins? 5 times. He's got to write out the page. He's got to keep writing out the page. He's got to keep going over his notes. He's got to literally implant that shit into his head over and over and over and over again. Repetition, 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 repetition. And it's not fun. He doesn't enjoy it. But he understands that that's what it's going to take for him to develop, for him to keep extracting the greatness, for him to be the man, to live the fullest potential of himself that he wants to show. Not to the world. He doesn't give a fuck about what the world sees. He wants to prove it to himself. And that is something we can all learn from. Your AMCC can also shrink. When you do stuff that you enjoy doing, it shrinks. When you do something that is fun, that you love to do, I'm not saying you shouldn't do these things. Of course you should. Live a beautiful life. But know that your willpower shrinks when you do things that you love to do. Know that if you're not constantly on the grind, constantly pushing yourself, constantly doing shit that sucks, doing shit you don't want to do, then you're not going to maintain your AMCC, and you're definitely not going to grow it. It's only going to keep getting smaller if you keep pushing off these hard tasks, if you keep staying around and not getting after it because you don't feel like it, because it sucks. This has been me. I get it. I've been inconsistent with running. I've been inconsistent with cold showers. I understand. There's a lot of shit that I don't feel like doing. But if you want to grow your willpower, if you want to impose your will onto the world, if you want to have this great energy and this great ability to execute regardless of how you feel, that is the key. I'm personally going to start challenging myself to get more consistent with my cold showers. I'm personally going to start challenging myself with reading more. I like to read to an extent, but I'm more of a story guy. At the same time, though, I just love watching content. Reading, sitting down to read, it kind of sucks. It's kind of hard for me, honestly. But that's how I'm going to challenge myself. That's how I'm going to grow my AMCC. That's how I'm going to develop my willpower. How you can develop your willpower? Do these hard exercises that you don't like to do. Go for the run. Go hit the gym workout. Sit down. Really try to get some work done. Try to focus. Read a book. Also, resist the urges, the bad habits, the desires that you have. Resist the porn. Resist the drinking. Resist the weed, the fapping. Resist these bad habits that you know aren't good for you, but that your brain wants, that you want. The overeating, the junk food. I'm a victim of all of these. I understand, man. Trust me, I get it. But if we want to grow, if we want to become more mentally strong, if we want to actually feel like we can keep our word to ourselves, you got to start small. And you got to just keep working up. But you have to take the action. You have to put in the work. And it has to be consistent. Because if you fall off, your AMCC will shrink. Your will, it will shrink. It's something that can be grown, it can be maintained, and just as easily, it can go away, and you can become complacent again. My name is Jaden. You call me JC, you call me Jay, call me Dubs. I'm here to serve young men like yourself. I'm here to help people as best as I can with the things that I'm learning and I'm implementing. I'm just trying to learn as I go. I don't have all the answers. I won't act like I do. I won't act like I'm a master of any of this shit, because I'm not. I'm just a kid who loves science and who loves to share the things that he's shared with the world. If you got anything from this vid, I'd appreciate a like, a comment, or a sub. Spread the message a little more. Share what you've learned with me. I'd really appreciate that. Let's go get the fuck after our dreams. Big YDC.